The 876th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code MMA SGPN.
Howdy ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 876 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Who should I dedicate it to? The MMA Upside. Apparently he went missing and he told us
we didn't have a comment for like 2 whole episodes.
Yeah, he said, don't worry, I'm back. So yes, thank God. We were so concerned. Thank you, MMA Upside, for always being there in the comments. I am Jeff, 2 Entrees Fox. Welcome to the episode. The other voice here was Daniel Gumby Vreeland. We're wrapping up our UFC Abu Dhabi coverage, aka UFC Fight Night Whittaker versus De Ridder. No consensus last episode, so that's for sure. We a lot of disagreement, but kind of expected because there's a lot of tricky fights and a lot of tricky lines. Thoughts on the main card, Gumby?
Same thing. You know,
yeah.
I think I talked about on yesterday's episode how there's just like some people that are real hard to get a read on whether or not they've gotten better in certain ways, if they have a deficit in certain ways. Like, you know, let's take Tabitha Ricci from yesterday's episode. Like Tabitha Ricci had improved her striking, but like how much had she improved her striking? Because we saw her kind of go toe-to-toe with Angela Hill, hang in there and win that fight. Close decision. She wasn't able to do the same with Yan Xiaonan, but there's like kind of a wide gap there. So like, where does she fall in that striking? And is it enough to be Amanda Hebos? And then you see like, you know, Muhammad Yahya really struggle with Kawhi Fernandez, but like, what does that mean? And then you haven't seen Stephen win in months. And like, yeah, there was just like a lot of fights where getting reads on fighters was tricky for one reason or another, whether that be changing weight classes or big discrepancy in opponents. And you kind of have the same thing here on the main card. You know, so again, a lot of tough fights to pick on this one. A lot of ones where the lines definitely don't do the tightness of the fight justice.
Yep. Very, very true. A lot of wider lines than you would expect. Yeah, and even right up to the main event. Main event, as Gumby said yesterday, that's pretty much a toss-up too. We really don't know what to expect here. So, solid fight. That's what we want. We want intriguing fights. We want hopefully questions answered. Pretty solid fight card. We got a former champ in the main event and the co-main event. So, you don't get much better on fight night cards, that's for sure. So we shall break her down in a second after I remind you what I'm reminding you of this time. Football. That's what Sports Gambling Podcast is back with their 32 NFL team previews. They're also bringing back the phrase that pays. Each episode, they give out one word of a 32-word phrase. Submit the phrase for a chance to win a $1,000 circa future. All right, we'll get y'all reset here and ready for the event. UFC Fight Night Whittaker versus De Ridder. It's coming down this coming Saturday as per usual. Noon Eastern start time though, so don't be looking for UFC at nighttime. Don't be getting your bets in late. It is on ABC, the main card, and we were talking about the 5 main card fights here, which are going down in the Etihad Arena, Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. Just in case you want to go. I don't know if it's sold out or not. We're starting off with light heavyweights. Nikita Krylov from the Ukraine. Bogdan Guskov, who actually came up in yesterday's episode a couple times, or at least one time. He is from Uzbekistan. That's a breaker down by telling you about the Uzbekistani first Zarovich, a.k.a. Anthony Smith. Is he Timu Anthony Smith?
I don't know. Is he better or worse? I don't even know. I don't know the answer to that.
It depends, I guess, what part of the career of Anthony Smith we're talking about. Anyhow, he looks like Anthony Smith. He's 17-3. 14 knockouts, 3 submissions. So he's finished everyone. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. He owes his rounds. 3-1 over his last 4. However, he's won 3 straight fights via finish. He's fight up at heavyweight. He's a silver medalist as a grappler on the, I think, at least the European level. Silver medalist in K1 as well. 2015 Pro MMA debut. He's outstruck his opponents by 0.74 strikes per minute. He's at plus 180. The minor, Krylov. Do we know why he's the minor, Gumby? Have we talked about this? I think
he was not the minor originally. Do you remember his first nickname when he came to
talk about it? And I can't remember.
It was Al Capone.
Right? Yes, we talked about it in an episode too.
And as a matter of fact, his Tapology page used to have him in like an Al Capone hat.
That's so great. So he should have kept. He should have kept that. Cringy nicknames should be kept by all at all means by all All right, 30-10 is Mr. Krylov. 12 knockouts, 16 submissions, so he's a finisher as well. He's been knocked out twice, submitted 6 times. Fine, he owes his rounds too. 11-8 in the UFC over 2 stints. Done better in this stint. He's won 3 of 4 and 5 of 10. Not as good. Knockout in his last fight. He got knocked out. He's fight not one. Blah, blah, blah. These are words coming out of my mouth. He's not won a fight since March 2023. He's a regional champ, 2012 pro MMA debut. He's got an inch of reach over Guskov. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes. Better grappling stats as well. He's outstruck his opponents by 1.84 strikes per minute, minus 185. I always kick off the main card. Give me the minor. Give me Al Capone here. Still don't know how good Guskov is. I think Krylov is definitely better on the ground. I think he can hang on the feet as well. So I'll take the minor.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think it's the ground game of Guskov that makes me in on Krylov here, because if you watch Guskov's fights, like he's had notorious issues with being on the ground, right? Like Billy Akolena, who we talked about on last episode, like took us back in the first round and was there the whole time. I mean, his lone loss in the UFC was when he got taken down and submitted almost immediately by Bogdan Ozdemir. Like he came to the UFC a prospect where I was like, hey, we gotta pay attention to this guy. And in fact, I even think I took him in that Ozdemir fight, and then I was just like, oh, he can't grapple worth a lick. You know, like his grappling, especially the submission defense in that one, just like didn't hold up. And then when you look at Krylov, like, you know, I'm pulling up some stats here. He had 7 takedowns on Volkan Ozdemir, only a couple of fights ago, right? And, you know, Volkan Ozdemir, tough guy to take down that many times. He took him down 7 times, took down Ryan Spann a couple of times and submitted Ryan Spann, who's notoriously a pretty good submission specialist. And yeah, he did get knocked out by Dom Reyes. And that's, it's another one of those situations like where do we rate this? Because if he got knocked out by Dom Reyes 4 fights ago, we'd be like, okay, well, he might as well retire. But like now Dom Reyes almost looks like he's back, right? Like we need to pay attention to this guy now. So, you know, for me, I'm going to say Krylov's ground game just way too much for him here. He's one of those guys that when he gets the submission too, he doesn't let it go. So yeah, give me Nikita Krylov.
All right. Yeah, that's the thing with grappling. You don't know. Some guys can hide their grappling forever because no one ever takes them down. So
yeah, and I think that happened on the regional scene for Guskov, right until Ozdemir, you know, sort of exploited it.
Yeah, you know, pretty quick if a guy can strike or not, but grappling they can kind of hide. All right, we are going way down now, flyweights now. Asu Almabayev, he is from Kazakhstan. He is fighting Jose Ochoa from Peru. It's Jose, right?
It's Jose because it's from Peru.
Peruvians say Jose. All right, we'll tell you about him first. These guys' nicknames are very similar. We have Kalfizer for Ochoa and Zulfikar for Almabayev. We'll tell you about Ochoa first. 8-1 with 1 no contest. He's been 7 knockouts, 1 submission, so he's finished everyone. He himself has never been finished. He still has his rounds. Taking this fight on short notice. 1-1 in the UFC. He's won 3 of 4. Won his last fight via TKO. 3 inches height, 2 inches of reach over Almabayev. 6 years younger, which is pretty significant for 125s. More active landing strikes. He's outstruck his opponents by 0.99 strikes per minute. He's at plus 101. Almabayev, as I said, Zulfikar, 21-3, 3 knockouts, 9 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. 4-1 in the UFC. He's won 17 of 18, but he did get TKO'd in his last bout. He's regional champ. Used to fight at 135, 2013 pro MMA debut. Better grappling stats than Ochoa, minus 105. So pretty much a pick 'em.
Yeah, and another one of those fights where you're like, how do I line Asu Almabayev? Because he got toasted by Manel Cape when Cape came with like his A game, right? Because we've seen Cape come with his D- game or F game, but he came with his A game and he just like, you know, Almabayev didn't belong in there basically. And then we've seen him. Who did he beat up other than that? He beat up Jose Johnson, you know, like, so like the guy who beat up Jose Johnson or lost him Nail Cape, like that's like a huge range. And on the other side of things, like Ochoa has looked pretty damn good in both of his fights. I know he took his debut on short notice and like hung right in there with Loner Kavanaugh, who's, you know, as good of a prospect as you're going to get at flyweight right now. And then in the second fight, man, did he take it to Cody Durden, you know, just like absolutely pummeled that guy. I've been back and forth on this one a dozen times. I think I'm going to go Ochoa. I think for me, the difference maker is that like when pressured and his takedowns failed, or he didn't get enough, you know, top control out of his takedowns, Almabayev panicked. Almabayev got backed up when his wrestling didn't work. He started doing that thing where he turns his shoulder and runs away. And if you're going to do that against Ochoa, I mean, he's shown crazy knockout power for a dude who's 125 pounds. Like, he'll punish you. And Almabayev was preparing for that fight and still didn't have the cardio to deal with it. And, like, Ochoa has had like crazy cardio even in fights that he jumped in last second. So, like, I like the cardio a little better. He has been taken down before by Cody Durden, but he popped right back up. There was like no control time there either. I think if he does that a couple of times to Almabayev, the strikes are going to open up. So give me Ochoa here as the slight dog.
Tight one, as the line suggests. I'm taking Almabayev due to the grappling. I think he can get his grappling going.
I think you taking a grappler while I take
I know.
a striker.
back-to-back grapplers too. Krylov. Yeah, in the short notice, obviously, I tend to fade short notice guys, but Ochoa has experience doing it. But he lost nonetheless, but still experience. But tight fight should be a good one as well. All right, before we dive into more winning plays, let me tell you about Circa Million and Circa Survivor. The world's greatest sports book, Circa Las Vegas, is hosting the world's biggest pro football contests. Circa Million, Circa Survivor, and Circa Grandissimo with over $21 million in guaranteed prizes. You can't call yourself a true degen if you're not competing in the Circa football contest. Come hang out with SGPN at the Circa contest weekend, August 21st to 23rd, for an amazing weekend, including live shows and open bars. Plus, you get 15% off a stay at the Circa with promo code SGP15. The contests are open to everyone. Sign up in Nevada. Play from anywhere with the help of SGPN's official proxy. Go to footballcontest.com and use promo code SGP to get $50 off your proxy fees. And Underdog Best Ball Mania is happening all summer long, giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. No waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best Ball is the best way to play fantasy football. Underdog is also a great place to play at Pick'em, where you win up to 500 times your entry. Gumby, do you have a play for the people?
Yeah, I said yesterday I was all in on Charlie Morton, which that remains too, thanks to maybe a sponsor we'll talk about in a second. But I'm also going to go all in on my guy Reese Olson here. Reese Olson has been pretty damn lights out lately. He picked up 6 strikeouts the last time he was out there against Texas. And we're going to go with the higher than on his strikeouts against the Blue Jays. I know the Blue Jays, hard team to strike out, but on Thursday we'll take the higher than on Reese Olson's strikeouts.
All right, take that and take our code MMA SGPN. That way you get to claim a special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. So underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. We are jumping back up to, actually, we're just going up to middleweight this time. Shara Magomedov from Russia. Marc-André Barriault from Canada. Hooray. 185. Let's break it down. Power Bar, one of our most favorite nicknames. He is 17-9. That would be Barriault. 17-9 with 1 no contest, 11 knockouts, 1 submission, knocked out 3 times, submitted once, 6-8 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He's won 1 of 4 and 4 of 9. Won his last fight via knockout. He's failed a drug test in the past. He has multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get our merch. Get all the good stuff. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. He's fight up at 205. 2014 Pro MMA debut. An inch reach over Magomedov. More active landing strikes and better grappling stats than Magomedov. Even though his name's Ov, he's outstruck us once by 0.45 strikes per minute. He's at plus 505. Shara Bullet is 15-1 with 12 knockouts. He's never been finished in a fight. 4-1 in the UFC. He did lose his last bout. He used to fight down at welterweight, up at 205. Muay Thai champ, a left weight champ, an inch taller than Barriault, 4 years younger. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.74 strikes per minute. He's at minus 556. I hate the line, but give me Magomedov. I'm going against the Canadian. It's going to be Barriault, maybe a better grappler, but he doesn't grapple. This is going to be a stand-up battle, and I'll go with the guy with the better power against the guy who's been knocked out before. So give me Shara Bullet.
It's not even just that he's been knocked out before, too. It's like who's knocked him out, right? Like, was it Dustin Stoltzfus who knocked him out last?
Sounds right. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't want to throw shade at Dustin Stoltzfus because I definitely picked him in that fight because I love me some Dustin Stoltzfus. And I never miss a chance to fade a Canadian. But, like, also, I picked him because I thought Stoltzfus would just wrestle in that fight, and yet somehow he found the KO punch. And you're like, okay, well, if Marc-André Barriault is getting knocked out by that guy, like, we got some questions to ask, and he's going to fight Shara Bullet. And, you know, Shara is another guy who I think we're, like, all kind of figuring out how to handicap him because on sometimes he looks like a man possessed on the feet, and in other times he just got, like, badly outpointed and had no idea what to do in his last fight, right? Like, in his last fight, he looked confused with striking. And I still think he's a powerful striker and a skilled striker. I think his ceiling is sort of like if he fights an elite striker, he's going to get confused and suck. And if he fights an elite wrestler, they will probably wrestle him. So he's kind of has like, I think, a much lower ceiling than people realize. But that ceiling isn't Marc-André Barriault, unfortunately. No. So I'll take Shara Bullet too. And again, not touching that line right there. I mean, like, if you want to play Shara Bullet, if that's your side that you want to get in on, like, let's say Shara Bullet KO1, right? Like, he's probably going to come out like a bat out of hell. Or, you know, maybe if you think, you know, Marc-André Barriault is going to survive one Shara Bullet and the over if you want to get crazy. But, like, you're going to have to find a way of combining things like that to get in on him.
Magomedov wins via TKO KO. Is best you can get that is at -141. So everyone is in.
Yeah. So if you get already the round in there or like an under and over, you could probably push it to better than even money. But like, yeah, I mean, like that's I guess not a terrible line. He's probably going to knock him out.
Yeah. Fight ends in round 1's +190, which is not bad. He could even lose. And Magomedov wins in round 1 +230. So not much better there. So but yeah,
might as well just take the fight ends in round
exactly.
one in that case. There's no reason to get the side there.
Exactly. All right, co-main event: Petr Yan from Russia versus Marcus McGhee from the United States of America. They're fighting at bantamweight. McGhee is the maniac. Marcus the maniac. McGhee 10-1, 8 knockouts, 1 submission. Been submitted once. He owes his rounds. 4-0 in the UFC. He's won 6 straight fights. He's not lost since July 2022. Used to fight up at featherweight. He's an inch taller than Yan. 2 inches of reach on him. Better striking stats and more active landing strikes than Yan. He's outstruck his opponents by 3.23 strikes per minute in the UFC. He's at +340. No mercy. Petr Yan is 18-5, 7 knockouts, 1 submission. He's never been finished. 10-4 in the UFC. He used to be the champion of the world. He's won 2 straight. Before that, he lost 3 straight, and he's only won 3 of his last 7. He's not lost though since March 2023. Regional champ, 2014 pro MMA debut. 3 years younger than McGhee. He's outstruck his opponents by 0.98 strikes per minute, -362. This one's getting a bit wider.
This is me, huh?
It's you.
I'm gonna take Petr Yan. You know, I debated getting in on Marcus McGhee, and as a matter of fact,
yeah.
you might hear my takes on that.
Okay.
If you get to our fancy dancy plays at the end, so hang on to those because I might have an angle that you like on this fight if you are on the Marcus McGhee side. But like the bottom line is, I just don't think he is on the same level as Petr Yan, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody beat Petr Yan at his own game, and that's kind of what like Marcus McGhee brings, right? Like he likes to get in your face and mix it up. It's not like he's coming in there to like bulldoze you over and take you down 30 times, right? And really, like if you look at the losses on Petr Yan's record, the only people who have ever really truly beat him are people who out wrestled him. Right? Like, you know, Aljamain Sterling beat him the second time. And I mean, technically beat him the first time too. But like beat him the second time just by getting his grappling going. You know, Merab beat him by getting his grappling going. And then you got the Sean O'Malley split decision that like arguably he didn't lose. You know, like I know over this last 2 episodes, we've done a lot of revisionist history, but Petr Yan didn't lose to Sean O'Malley there either. So like, he's a guy who's pretty much outstruck anybody who's tried to strike with him. And then, you know, Marcus McGhee is going to try to strike with him. And who's the best guy that Marcus McGhee has ever outstruck? Jonathan Martinez. You know, and, you know, no shade on Jonathan Martinez, but we're talking levels here, right? And again, this is why it's hard to get reads on some of these fights this weekend. It's because, like, that's a huge step to go from Jonathan Martinez to that. And, you know, Marcus McGhee's ground game is a little susceptible, I think, too. Not that I think Petr Yan's going there, but you know, the guy who submitted Marcus McGhee, his own loss is fighting in LFA this weekend, and he's 1-3 in his last 1-2 in his last 3 fights. That's Rafael Do Nascimento, who we like on this week's too. But you know, I just think Petr Yan, craftier on the feet, smarter in the way that he puts his combinations together, good with pressure. Might have a little bit of issue with the energy earlier from McGhee, but like I think he settles in and outboxes him here.
Yep, Yan seems to have steadied himself and is back on track now. This is too much of a jump up for McGhee. I want to say too much too soon, but he's 35 already. So,
he's not young,
and you look 75.
I was gonna say he looks 45, but yeah.
So you kind of have to, you know, fast track him. Obviously, if he wins this belt, then he's right in the mix for a title shot. But I don't think he's going to. I think Jan's, excuse me, as Gumby said.
I mean, and look at what Jan's done with, like, you know, let's use Corey Sandhagen as an example. Like, Corey Sandhagen can fight Jan's type of fight in terms of the striking and be elusive, and he still couldn't do it, you know? And so, like, if Corey Sandhagen can't do it, I don't know what chance Marcus McGhee has.
Yeah. Yep. Sad because he's fun, but them's the breaks. We're both going with Jan here. All right. Before we get to the main event and our fancy place, let me tell you about MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet in every sport, including the MLB, WNBA, golf, and of course, football futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. They have easy deposit and lightning fast payouts using crypto. And of course, they have all the UFC lines we're talking about right now. When you do head over to MyBookie.ag, sign up with our code MMA SGPN. That way you get 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's MyBookie.ag, promo code MMA SGPN. And you've heard us talk about Rhythm before, and they just dropped a game at changing feature called Power Trends. Essentially the best of what their house model has to offer. These are AI detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit in a certain range. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Here's some stats for you. MLB Power Trends are 254 and 147, which is a win rate of 63% and an ROI of 4.5% in their past 400 bets. WNBA Power Trends 35 and 20 since launch, 63.64% win rate, 20.7% ROI. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know we will be. Gumby's always on there. He finds that Charlie Martin's still good. He finds WNBA players info that he doesn't know about. You find everything there, right?
Yeah, the WNBA one that I nabbed recently that was good was Sammy Whitcomb, higher than on her 3-pointers. You know, sites keep listing her at 1.5, and you know she's regularly taking like 6 or 7 attempts in a game, so getting 2 usually not a problem. So I've cashed a couple of times on that too.
There you go. You can cash too. You can check it out for free by getting a 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpockets.com/rhythm, RITHMM. We're to our main event. It is 5 minute rounds, 185. Robert Whittaker, the former champ from New Zealand and Australia. He reps both. Reinier de Ridder from the Netherlands. And let's break her down by telling you about de Ridder first. Reinier de Ridder is the Dutch Knight, RDR, you can also call him. He's 20-2, 5 knockouts, 13 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, 3-0 in the UFC. He's won 4 straight before that. He lost 2 straight. All 4 of those wins have come via finish. He's a 2-time, or 2 division, actually, 1 championship champion, biggest promotion in the world. He's fed at 205, multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get our shirt, get our merch, get all the good stuff. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. 2013 Pro MMA debut, 0-1-1 in pro grappling. He's a 2-time silver medalist in the European Championships in grappling. 4 inches of height, 5 inches of reach over Whittaker. Better grappling stats. He's outstruck his opponents by 1.04 strikes per minute. He's at plus 138. The Reaper, or Bobby Knuckles, for Whittaker, 26-8, 10 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted twice. 17-6 in the UFC and the former champ. He's won 2 of 3 and 3 of 6. He got submitted in his last bout and got his jaw broken a whole bunch of ways. 2-0 the Ultimate Fighter and the champion. He's fed at 170. He's regional champ, 2009 Pro MMA debut. He's also a wrestling champion. More active landing strikes than de Ridder. He's outstruck his opponents by 1.13 strikes per minute, minus 140. It's a tough one. I'm going dog though. I'm going de Ridder. Obviously, I like the role that he's going on. He's been much better overall than I expected him to be in the UFC. Much better on the feet. I think he's actually going to be a hang on the feet with Whittaker, and then I think he can get his grappling going. Whittaker is a very good wrestler, but he's mentioned how his jaw has been an issue for him. So I wonder if RDR is actually going to target that. I think he can get him to the ground. If it does stay on the feet, I think he can hang on the feet as well. He's much bigger than him, and like I said, he's shown in the UFC he can. I guess lesser competition, mind you, but
it's much less. And that's, that's been the theme of these 2 episodes, right? Is that he hung on the feet with Bo Nickel.
Right.
Who we don't know if he actually knows how to strike yet because of the way the UFC has match made him the whole time.
Yeah.
And with Robert Whittaker, same thing with his grappling defense. Like, is it good? Because he stuffed Ikram Aliskerov, but he didn't stuff Khamzat Chimaev.
Right.
And how large is that gap? I don't even think we know how large that gap is, which is like kind of the tricky part of it all. I'm gonna go to Reader too.
Yeah.
For me, the difference maker is, like you mentioned, the reach. The reach is really big here. It's a 4-inch reach, 4 inches of height. I think that's gonna force Robert Whittaker to wind up being in a lot of clinches here. And I'm not as confident in DeRitter striking as you just were, but I do think like where he could sort of make hay is in the clinch. Like I think as long as he winds up in the clinch repeatedly and he can work his knees, and Robert Whittaker has to worry about whether or not that takedown's coming, because he's a black belt not just in jiu-jitsu, but he's a black belt in judo too. Like the fact that Whittaker will constantly have to be worried about that, I think is a problem. And then, on top of all that, you said you thought he could get him to the ground. I'm kind of with you on that one. At first, I had my doubts, but I watched a really nice couple breakdowns by Stefan Struve. Stefan Struve was doing a breakdown of some of his grappling choices along with Tom Aspinall. And it's both in the way that he controls people on the ground. One of them was about that. And then also the way that he does some very unconventional things in the clinch that most grapplers don't do, because it risks giving up your back or it risks getting in a bad position. And he just doesn't care, because he knows he can either reverse that position on the way down, or he can use his judo to re-grab the position, or he's just happy to be on the ground with you anyway. And I think, that's another layer there that's tricky for Robert Whittaker, that even if his like classic double leg takedown defense is still good, like that's not what he's getting here. Like he's getting takedowns that he hasn't really seen before. And I think that might be where DeRitter gets going. And DeRitter's cardio has been good too, so we'll give him that as well. So I'm going to go Reinier DeRitter. All
right, let's recap and get you some more plays. We both have DeRitter, both have Jan, both have Magomedov. The only one we differ on, I have Almabayev, he has Ochoa. Closest fight on the card, though.
Real close fight, yeah.
Yep, we both have a Krylov. All right, locks, dogs, props, and Hungry Man Jong something. Do you have me figured out this week, Gumby?
You're first this week. I don't know if I do. Nikita Krylov?
Yes, Nikita Krylov is my lock. Minus 185. We just talked about him. I don't have to go through it again. All right.
And I'm gonna go Bryce Mitchell. I don't love.
Feels yucky.
Feels yucky because that guy's a nut. But on the same token, I really like the matchup here. He's got him moving a bantamweight worries me a little bit, but the line is juicy. So I'll take Mitchell. Who's
my dog, Gumby?
You're gonna take. I think you're just gonna go DeRitter.
I am. Yes, DeRitter. Yep. Yeah.
As for you? I'm gonna go Tab Ritchie. I think her takedown game gets going enough here to scare off Amanda Heba. So I'll take Tab at the Ritchie.
All right. And props are always hard to figure out.
You want my prop? Your prop? How about I say you like Buchecha by sub?
No, it's sub though. Mitchell via sub. Plus 424, which is insane.
Oh, that's more than I saw, because we're going to talk about that in a minute too.
Yeah.
I debated using Buchecha by sub myself, but I'm going to go with Marcus McGhee. Now, I didn't pick him to win, but I'm going to take Marcus McGhee in the point spread. I'm going to take Marcus McGhee plus 3.5, which you can get at plus 120. So you're going to lose some of the value you'd get on the Marcus McGhee money line. But as I said, Petr Yan sometimes starts really slow. And we saw Marcus McGhee land over 30 strikes on Jonathan Martinez in the first round. So he comes out hot. I think he just steals one round like that, probably drops the rest. So you can get in on the Marcus McGhee plus 1 or 3.5 at like plus 120.
All right, awesome. Mitchell and Krylov, locks, Ricci, DeRitter, dogs, McGhee on the point spread, and Mitchell via submission. All right, Hungry Man Jong Superfan, what, Gumby?
So here's what I'm going to do this week. Last week, I went with the round robin, and my two most liked of that round robin both hit. So I would have hit the Hungry Man Jong Superfan parlay, but it was a round robin, and it basically broke even or came just short of breaking even as a result. So here's what I'm going to do this week. I'm going to give you my two most favorite ones in the parlay, and then I'm going to tell you the three I would have added if you twisted my arm and made it a round robin. So the two I'm going to add on the parlay, I'm going to go Bryce Mitchell by sub. It was my favorite too. I only added it 375. So the numbers I'm going to give you are incorrect. You can probably do even better than I'm about to tell you, but I only added at 375 and I liked it even there. And I'm going to pair that with Nikita Krylov by submission. Nikita Krylov by submission, I got at 210. And so when you took the 375 and the 210 and put them together, that gives you 1373. So if you bump that up to 425, you're probably going to get 15 to 1 on that one. So I'll take that. So I really love those subs, and I don't mean to hit you with so many subs, but I got 3 more submission lines that I really like on this fight card, which is crazy. Like, there's not going to be 5 submissions on this, which is why I wound up narrowing it down to just 2. But twist my arm and tell me to make this into a Hungry Man Jong round robin. Buchecha sub plus 110, great value there. I think he subs him. He just needs to get him down. His submission game's crazy. I also like Reinier DeRieder by sub. I want up phasing that one out because Robert Whittaker is tough, but that one's 3 to 1. You can get that one at plus 300, and that's worth a lot too. And then I talked about how I really like Billy Ekelena. If he wins, it might be a submission. His submission game's really good, despite only having 1 submission on his record. We've seen Ibo Aslan submitted a couple times. That one's 8 to 1. So, I mean, if you rolled all 5 of those together and all 5 of them hit, you'd get 150 to 1 on the round robin, and you'd probably break even at 2.5. So like 2, you'd come close. 3, you'd be well over. So if you're feeling a little riskier than I was this week with just my 2-fight parlay, that would be probably my round robin if I got strongholded into doing one.
So it was Buchecha, RDR, and Elikana, right?
To add to Mitchell and Krylov.
All right, cool. You got lots of stuff to be a degenerate with this week. You can hit us up in the Discord for more degenerate talk. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. On the YouTube, MMA Gambling Podcast. On the Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gummy Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. Go into my Substack, enter my free UFC Pick'em contest, and check out my writing at moneymma.substack.com. Check out Gummy's other podcast, Top Turtle MMA. Tell the people who was on it this week.
Yeah, we're talking to Baba Yaga, Demian Panage, who is going to be fighting on week 1 of Dana White's Contender Series, and Gabby McCumb, the 2-time world champion at Black Belt, who has made the switch over into MMA. She's fighting at LFA this weekend.
All right, so check out Top Turtle, of course, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Gummy will bid you farewell for the weekend.
All right, I'm Dana Gumby Freeland. He's Jeffy Knuckles, Jeff Fox, and we will see you on Sunday.